Buy, refurbish, refinance is often considered the holy grail of property investing, but is it even possible with the current market? Well, in today's video we're going to cover that, and I'm also going to reveal the secret formula for calculating the perfect buy, refurbish, refinance deal. So very quickly, what is buy, refurbish, refinance? Well, it's also known as BRR or BRR, and it basically stands for where you buy a property below market value, often 10 or 15 or 25% below market value, and that could be because it needs cosmetic updating, or it could be because the owner was in a distressed situation or perhaps didn't want to deal with estate agents. Once you purchase the property, you're then going to refurbish it, so if it does need it, then you can update it cosmetically because you want to make it as appealing as possible to the valuer who's going to do the refinance, but also your tenant who's going to live there and hopefully pay you a good rental figure. Last of all, if you've managed to add value, add equity in the deal, you can refinance. And in many instances, people have been able to pull out the whole amount of money. You know, I'm talking about the deposit, the fees, the refurbishment amount. And why do people do that? Well, because then they can start all over again. They can recycle that money and buy another property. Now you might turn around and say, Justin, how on earth are you going to find a property that's 25% below market value right now? You've probably got 10 other investors that are willing to bite the arm off of the person selling the property. And that is true. You are going to have to be a bit more creative. You are going to have to add a level of determination in order to find these kind of deals. But here are the main things that you can do in order to find a property like this. Of course, the first and most obvious is online agents. So online you can look up Rightmove, Zoopla, On the Market, a multitude of different search portals, and you can find the properties for the area you're looking in. You can contact the agent and then put in offers from there. But as mentioned, you're probably not going to have much luck. So if that is a route you're taking, you really need to be viewing at volume. You really need to be making offers at volume and following up weekly, monthly, and as regularly as you possibly can, basically. But next up is direct to vendor, and it's basically where you're sending a letter direct to the owner of that property in order to make contact with them, cut out the agent, cut out the stress of them listing the property on the market, and hopefully buy below market value. Next up, auction. Well, goes without saying that also right now auctions are very busy, prices are going through the roof, but auctions are still places you can pick up a deal. Just because it's listed as an auction doesn't mean you can't make an offer before or after if it wasn't to sell. Facebook ads. Now, this one's a bit more out there and is perhaps for those of you that are a bit more experienced, but if you have done 1, 2, 5 or 10 different property deals and you want to start sourcing them for your pipeline at below market value rates, then why not create some kind of lead gen where the leads are coming to you? And Facebook adverts are a good way of doing this. And last of all, we've got Sourcer, also known as a deal packager, and their full-time role is to find below market value deals and then sell them onto clients for a fee. So that's also another way you can continue to add these kind of deals to your pipeline. So what happens when you find one of these deals and you're close to having it agreed? What are the areas you should be focusing on? Well, of course, you should be using a spreadsheet or some kind of deal analyzer, but these are the parts you're going to really want to scrutinize and put your attention into, which includes the refurb. Of course, with the refurb, it's incredibly important not to run over budget, because secondary to the purchase price, which is the most important thing, refurb is probably the next most important thing because it's very easy to overrun on that side of things. Next up is minimizing cash. Of course, once you've bought the deal, put the refurb into it, you then want to refinance that out. And the key to a buy, refurbish, refinance, as long as you know the risks, are to pull as much money out as possible and probably put it onto a 75% loan to value mortgage. So leaving 25% in, new 75% loan to value mortgage. You can actually go higher. I think there are 80 and 85% LTV mortgages, but of course your repayments are higher or your interest payments higher. And also, as mentioned, you are slightly at a higher risk should there be a market downturn or should interest rates shoot up. Next up is return on capital employed, or ROCE, or ROCE. And it basically is where you're utilizing the money left in. And of course you've refinanced as much out as possible, but you still want that amount of money that you have left in that deal to be working for you as efficiently as possible. And you want this to be a profitable property and profitable business. So you really need to pay attention to the return on the capital that you've employed. Of course, if this is a true buy, refurbish, refinance deal where you've managed to recycle all of your money out, then the return on capital employed should be an infinite percentage, which is lovely. Last but not least is finance. And when I say finance, I mean mortgages, bridging, cash, whatever it is, it's important to know how you're going to structure your deal. And one common mistake made by investors is that they continuously buy BRR deals on straightforward mortgages. So when you buy that property, you put it on a mortgage, and then they're refinancing and leaving that product early, after 6 months. A lot of these mortgages are 2 to 5 years, and the lender wants you to stay on for at least 2 years because that's how they make their money. So if you continuously refinance off of their product, 6 months after purchase, they're going to start to notice, they're going to start to mark that against your name. So if you are truly buying a below market value property and it does need a refurbishment, I would really encourage you to look at buying it either cash, whether it's your money or an investor's money, or looking to buy it with a bridging loan so that you can purchase the property, do the works, and then refinance off of that bridging loan. Ideally, around the 6 months mark. You can refinance before 6 months. However, you are likely to be met with additional terms by the lender, and they might also want to charge you a higher percentage because, well, they love making money. Now, for those of you that are struggling to work out the calculations around a BRR deal, well, this part's for you. I've got a secret and easy formula that you can use to calculate how to take all of your money out of a deal and therefore how much you will need to offer on this deal. So this is where the real magic happens. Let's say we found a property that's on the market with an agent for £90,000. So let me write it down here, £90,000, but we think we can get it for 80. I'll make a note of the 80, but we need to work out whether 80,000 would make it an all money out deal or not. So first thing we need to do is work out what the end value is. So going off of the comparables in the street and the nearby streets, we reckon it's going to be worth £125,000 once we've done the refurbishments. So 125. And then what I'm going to have to do is work out the 75% of the end value. Why 75%? Because that's the new mortgage we're going to put on it after we've refinanced it at the higher price. So this is making the assumption that you want to put on a 75% loan to value mortgage. But that comes in at 93,750. And I have got a calculator here. I'm not just some sort of mathematical genius. Next thing we have to do is deduct the costs, okay? So I'm just going to write down the costs. I've got about 15 grand for a refurb. I've got 1,500 for solicitors. That might be less, might be more. Stamp duty, we are also going to have to make some assumptions on because we don't know the value yet. We don't know what we're going to have the offer accepted at. So let's just do stamp duty at the 80 grand that I put over here, which is 2,400. And then bridging costs. Now it's important to include any costs, like bridging costs, because in order to work out the all money out element of it, we need to know exactly how much it's costing us to do this deal. So let's say £3,000. Okay, so the total of these is £21,900. £21,900, which we're then going to deduct from our original 75% of our end value. So this is what we're going to be able to pull out after the refinance, and we're going to deduct the costs off of that. And by deducting those costs off of that value, that's going to give us our all money out offer price. So when we make that offer, that scenario is going to give us all money out. So 93,750 minus 21,900 gives us 71,850. So that right there, £71,850 is the most that we can pay if we want to buy this, renovate it, and then refinance it, pull all that money out and then go again. Now, £71,850 isn't actually that bad for a property that's currently on the market at 90, but with the current market situation, that's still probably quite difficult to get an offer accepted. So in my opinion, I'm still very happy having an offer accepted in which I might have 10k left in once I've refinanced it. So if we were to do that, of course, the offer price would be 81,850. And all of a sudden, that's actually quite realistic. That's quite reasonable. You might find a property that's on for 90,000 and it needs a lot of work. So then you could go in, show that you've got the money, you're ready to go. You offer 81,850. You leave 10,000 pounds in and you've got a property worth 125 grand at the end. Add it to your portfolio, add 300-400 pounds profit per month to your portfolio, and laugh all the way to the bank. Now, I hope you like this formula. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you next time.